Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knicks family. Welcome to the Knicks Recap and Reaction Show. The New York Knicks beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night at Madison Square Garden, continuing our stellar play at home, continuing to improve on the road as well. Um, yeah, Milwaukee came into the game having lost six straight, and I was hoping that the Knicks would not be, what I like to call Team Tylenol, where everybody gets better when they play the Knicks, and that was not the case. Yeah, obviously they won four of those six games they lost were without Giannis, but the Knicks came out and handled their business, particularly, in the third and fourth quarter, and we're here to talk about it. Ajay's making an appearance with us today.
Oh,
Jeff from the Happily Ever Clafter Daily Sports Blog. Be sure to catch his workout. The link is in the description. Ajay, Jeff, just briefly, what did you see last night? And then we'll do a deep dive.
well, good morning, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Like I said, it's the entire weekend. It's not just one day. So happy Thanksgiving, long weekend. And I'm super happy to be here on the post game, the game recap. I don't know. So it's not a weekly show, so it's special for me to be here today. The game, it was I guess that's the new NBA. It's a little bit frustrating, the back and forth. It's like it's a game of runs, right? Run here, run there, run here, run there, run here, and whoever ends up with the last run wins the game, right? So you keep your fingers crossed. Like hopefully we end up with the last run, and then there's no time for them to make their run, right? And that's pretty much what happened. But listen, it's a win. You're always happy, and it's a little bit extra. It's a little bit special because it's the NBA Cup, so that puts us, at the top of that group, and we're going into the quote unquote playoff or elimination game. I think we're playing the Raptors next. The Raptors,
I believe so, December 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
who are playing who are playing great right now, playing physical, very athletic, the kind of team we don't like. But you know what? we're gonna have to man up and play them. There's a lot of little things we have to fix, and I'm sure we talk about that later on during the show. But overall, it's a win. I'm happy. It's good to see a lot of guys came through. Well, a couple of guys came through, but also a couple of guys didn't come through. But we ended up on top, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. Jeff, your overall thoughts?
Really had a playoff atmosphere to this game. I know it's early on in the season, but I don't care about the in-season tournament. But that doesn't mean that these players don't. It was hotly contested battle, and there's some specifics I want to get into that I'll save. But I really thought this game was played at a high level. I thought both teams were really. They were both. I mean, teams always want to win games, I know, but this was a higher level of intensity that you saw, especially in the fourth quarter. And just I would argue even the shot making the entire game. I mean, even I saw Cole Anthony making what seemed like an impossible shot on a drive to the lane. It's like, whoa, and he just really good, outstanding playmaking, I thought, by everyone. And so I was really impressed with the quality of play. I know the Bucks aren't even in the playoff conversation right now, which is crazy how good the Eastern Conference is, that they're like lingering in 11th or something like that. But as you said, Giannis has missed the last four games, and they lost all of them. And so, but we had to deal with Giannis, and we knew that he would be, Madison Square Garden works. So good for him. I'm glad to see that his groin has recovered, and he looked fantastic last night.
I like that.
And we weathered the storm. So good for us. I think that's a nice win.
That's a good one. Madison Square Garden.
That's not mine, by the way. But I do like it.
places around the country where you go for their medicinal properties, like
Yeah.
you know, the salt baths, the mud baths, you know, things like that. That's Madison Square Garden, to a lot of the players. And you know, apparently he was on a minutes restriction, but you know, he looked great. He looked great last night. Um, I guess let's start with Hart. We could start with Brunson. Well, Ajay, you're the guest today. Where do you want to start?
Do we start with the good
Start with
one and work our way bad, or
however you want to do
bad
it.
and work our way good?
However you want to do it. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. Let's start with the good one because we still in a positive vibe. You know, we start the show on a positive vibes. Let's keep going. Let's start with the good. Okay,
Okay.
the good, in my opinion, Josh Hart came through. Uh, Jalen Brunson, you could always count on Jalen Brunson, especially he's had a nice run against the Milwaukee Bucks. Like the last, I mean, since he's been here, he's had great games against the Milwaukee Bucks for whatever reason. Okay, no matter who's there, but he's always had a good game. But Josh Hart was absolutely fantastic yesterday. He was all over the court. I mean, you see him trying to play defense on Giannis. I mean, you know it's a lost cause, but he is putting in that work. Same thing when he was guarding Portis. Bobby Portis, you know, he had a little back and forth with Bobby Portis, but he was trying. He was not a cone yesterday. I mean, he's usually not a great defender, but yesterday, I mean, he was in there, putting the resistance against those guys, stopping them from backing in, keeping them out of range, out of their comfortable range. So shout out to him. He had let me see how many rebounds.
14.
Oh, he had 15
15?
rebounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So and third out of that 13 defensive rebounds, which was pretty good. And that those were critical because like they in the beginning of the game they couldn't miss, right? So and when they started missing, you didn't want to get them back in groove. So you wanted to make sure you keep the rebounds away from them. And we did that pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Robert, do we go player by player or do we go like
We're,
as a
we're gonna
whole?
piggyback off of Hart, and then Jeff will pick the next one, and then we'll go if there's anything to add. Jeff, you want to add anything on Josh?
Yeah, but my Josh thing is kind of tied in with Jalen Brunson, and I think this is a tandem thing. So I think it's worth bringing up here, especially in the fourth quarter. Milwaukee was hyper aggressive, bringing two to the ball. It didn't matter where Brunson brought the ball up; they were trapping and blitzing him right away, and he would get the ball to Josh Hart, and that would lead to a 4-on-3, and he was dynamic and he torched them on those, making the right pass. Probably my favorite possession of his when he found, I forget who it was even now. I think it might have been Deuce in the corner, and Deuce just knocked down a triple. And so I really thought that the way that the defense played really made it where Josh Hart could excel and have the ball in his hands a lot more. And he made the defense pay, I thought, really well last night, despite not shooting the ball well from the perimeter. I think he was 0 for 4 on his 3-point attempts, but I think he literally made everything else. And so a really good decision making from him last night. And I know Ajay likes to say, and he rightfully so, he always has like those 1 or 2 bonehead plays a game. He might have had those last night, but they don't stand out for me. I thought his playmaking was really good. And how about the strength to try and defend Antetokounmpo? And he got help, but there are a lot of possessions where, and I'm not sure that's my favorite defensive strategy, by the way. Because he gives up so much size and strength, but he held his own, and he got beat on the spin move one possession, and he came back and he didn't allow it the next one. So he learned from that, and he said, "Okay, you're not going to beat me that way again." The reason I don't like it is I think that he can just be overpowered and bullied. Giannis is not the type of so it's he's so strong. But without OG Anunoby, we don't have a lot of really good options because in the first meeting with Milwaukee, OG was getting bullied and there wasn't anything we can do to stop it, is my recollection. So we
Right.
probably just don't have any good answers. But and the answer sometimes with these superstars like him is let him get his in a difficult fashion. And I thought that's what Josh Hart did. I mean, it seems crazy because he had like 30 points in like 28 minutes or something like that. So that makes it seem easy. But I really feel like he had to work, especially in the fourth quarter. I thought that he had to struggle to get points, and he made some shots, but not everything that he had was an easy look. He's really impossible to deal with, though. Like to ask anyone to really lock him up or lock him down is mission impossible in my opinion. But Josh Hart took on the task, and he was undersized, and he used his strength and his smarts, and he had some good possessions, especially down the stretch. I was really worried when it was a 4-point game or 2-point game. Even they had a couple of chances to tie or take the lead, and here they go, pounding the ball onto the Campo, and he forced them to do something else and take the ball elsewhere, and those were key critical positions. But I guess Josh Hart likes to be in the starting lineup. That's all even if the Knicks Nation doesn't necessarily want him there.
Right. But I think there's pros and cons to it. Like it remains to be seen whether or not this continues. If you listen to Mike Brown, he loves what he brings. To that starting lineup. When we're fully healthy, it remains to be seen. What he'll do. My preference is to go with a shooter, but I get it. I get the pros and cons because there's space issues. Even if he's shooting the three, there's still space issues because I don't think teams respect his he doesn't have the
They're
grab
willing to
like
live with
some
it.
right. Some players have gravity even when they're like Trey Young
Deuce.
is not historically a good 3-point shooter, but if he gets hot, it's over. So he still has the gravity. To your point, even when Deuce is not shooting well, he has that gravity. When Hart is shooting well, he still doesn't have the gravity. They like,
Yeah.
you know what? Like to your point, we'll live with it. But the secondary playmaking, the secondary ball handling, the offensive rebounds, those transition baskets, it really his ability to see others, his ability to drive to the basket it just makes the offense a bit more dynamic. And you don't really get that from a Deuce, and you don't really get that from a Shamit, but you get the spacing. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mike Brown does when we are fully healthy. The good thing, what I like about this team, is that when the negatives outweigh the positives with Josh Hart, we have other options we can go to, and we have a coach who will go to those options. And so I think that does mitigate this fear of the spacing is poor, the spacing is poor. We just make a change. We just make a change, and we have a coach who will do that. So it remains to be seen what happens when the coach comes back. I mean, excuse me, when we're fully healthy. But so far, I mean, I think there's 7 assists, 12 rebounds he's averaging in the three games. And coming into this game, he was shooting a good 37, 38% from three. You said he was 0 for 5. Who knows what it is now? But he was shooting a pretty good percentage coming in. But Josh Hart is Josh Hart. He could shoot 40%. By the end of the season, he's going to be back to 33 or whatever,
Right,
whatever it
right.
is, that he shoots. But it was a really, really good, really, really good game um, from him. And hopefully that continues. We're going to need that. We play in Toronto Sunday, a lot of wings on that team other than Portal. So, I think this small lineup we're using should bode well against them. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Where do you want to go next, Jeff?
I think you got to talk about Jalen Brunson. Just an MVP performance. That kid, he was unbelievable down the stretch of that game. Just the shot
Yeah,
making,
he
the
was.
little floater when he got fouled, that put the baby to bed. I mean, you can't ask for a guy to do more, and he was absolutely getting bullied and hounded as soon as he stepped across the front court. They were trying to guard him with Kyle Kuzma, which was very
Right.
fascinating, and then they were bringing help from
Right.
whichever side. Like as soon as the screen was set, they were hard trapping. They were bound and determined to get the ball out of his hands. But what I loved is not only did he get the ball to Josh Hart, but then he cuts and he gets himself open anyway, and then they're able to
Mm-hmm.
find him off of the secondary pass, which is
Nice.
really, I mean, first of all, smart offensive basketball, but I just thought it was a virtuoso performance from him last night. He was the best player on the floor, in my opinion, and Giannis was great. But
Yeah.
I said what I said, and I'll stand by it. I thought he showed why he should be an MVP candidate last night, and he's heating up. Like last 7 games or so, he's
Yeah.
really starting to pick up the level of his play. Like whatever hibernation or carbonite chamber he was in, for the first 5 or 6 games of the year, that's all melted away. He's ready to rock and roll, and when he's at his finest, that he is one a delight to watch, and just an unstoppable force, and the Bucks were an immovable object, and he still torched them last. I mean, I thought they played well against him defensively, and he scored anyway, and that's special. That's
Yeah.
they guarded him with length. He shot over the top. And or blew right by him. He had the answer every single time, and we needed every single one of those points. I mean, this was I know it ended up a 9-point game, but this was a nail biter for a good, we had that run where we went up 101-88, and then we gave up the
Right.
14-3 run, let them right back in the game. So this was a high leverage game, and Captain Clutch did what Captain Clutch does. So kudos to him.
Yeah, I thought he was good, and I was surprised to hear that he's averaging more points than last season because he just doesn't look like he's on the
Taking
ball.
more
I mean, he's
shots in there.
not. He's not on the ball a lot, and and things are coming, much easier. Easier for him. And to your point, he's been on a heater, of late. But yeah, I thought his clutch shots in that fourth quarter, his decision making in the fourth quarter was really good. He played well. He played well last night. I don't really have much to add when it comes to Brunson. Even Mike Brown said I don't talk about him enough because it's just what we expect from him. Your thoughts, Ajay?
Queen. So this is when you talk like, okay, when is a player good or when is a player great, right?
Right.
Jalen Brunson this is when you enter that conversation. He's great. And you watched the game yesterday, right? And you almost feel like how many points did he get? Like 30 something, right? 30 30
31 points.
no,
37.
37
I'm
points.
sorry. 37
30
points.
so 30 almost 40 points. And it almost seems like effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are a couple of possessions that he really had to, do a couple of extra moves to get the shot off. But it almost
Hmm.
seems like he was like in his comfort zone all night long. No matter who was checking him, no matter how many people was checking him, he seems
Right.
like it was like there's nothing they can do. Right? They know what he's gonna do. They throw 2, 3 people at him, big guys, little guys, doesn't matter. He gets the shot off, and he gets it almost. It's really almost becoming second nature to him. This is when you have that great conversation. He's not a good point guard. He's a great point guard, and this is why Mike Brown says there's nothing to talk about. Like we expect this from him because by nature this is what he does. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So if this guy one day have an extra like a great game, you could expect like a 50 point, you know, 12, 15 assist kind of joint. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see that all the time. But this to him is natural, it's normal, it's regular. I mean,
Hmm.
what else can you say about the guy? Mike Brown's right. Like, what are you gonna say about him? He had another
Right.
great game. That's what he does, like almost every night, unless he's
Yeah.
injured. Or listen, and there are nights where he's human. He's an NBA player. There are nights where he's gonna score only, and listen to this, only 25 points. And 25 points is amazing. But there are nights where he's only gonna score 25 points. You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do about the guy? He can't do it. The defense can't figure him out. other coaches, like the greatest basketball minds, cannot figure him out. So, Mike Brown is right. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shout out to the chat. My I can't really see all of the comments, so I got it up on the side somewhere. But I do want to shout out everyone who's joining us today, and shout out to Old Head, who I haven't seen in the chat in a minute. Hope everything is well with you and yours. Let's move on to Kat, who last night was
Can we
2 of 8,
can we
one
stay
of. Hmm?
can we stay positive?
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we
I
can
mean,
talk about Cat and
Deuce
say,
McBride. Deuce McBride had an amazing game.
what,
wait,
Angie,
wait.
did you had your choice? Jeff had his choice. Let me have my choice.
Oh my God. Pig
Have you
Deuce,
not
Pig
watched this
Deuce,
show? How this
Pig
works
Deuce,
before, Ajay? Come on.
Pig Deuce, Pig
and
Deuce. I'm
then
sending you a
then
text. Pig Deuce next.
you could go to Deuce. But I
Okay,
do
yeah,
want to
let's
talk
talk about
about
Cat.
Is
Let's
that
talk about
Ajay
Cat.
or is that Wiz? I'm confused.
right.
Wiz just text me.
9
Better
points,
pick
2 of
Deuce
8.
next.
Yes, we'll do Deuce next. 9 points, 2 of 8. One or two from from a 3-point line. Took only 8 shots. I I'm not. How much was the team not going to him? How much that was how the Bucks were playing him? How much of that was him just not being assertive? I think touches would be a better indicator than field goal attempts, but I don't have that. I will say though, having my game notes, I did notice that on his drives, he's passing now. So, like in the first quarter, he drove and found Hart under the basket for a layup. In the second quarter, he drove and found Bridges in the corner for a three, which is a little different for Cat because once he puts the ball on the floor and he's driving to the lane, it's a wrap. He's going in, he's going in for the layup. So I did notice that, last night, not taking a lot of threes, giving up. I know Ajay that doesn't like this, kind of giving up some looks, that he had, and I noticed that the past 2 games. So maybe this is just part of him, trying to shoot better, by not taking as many threes. I'm not, quite sure, but yeah, only eight shots, last night. I would definitely love for him to have more. And before we get into Josh Hart having more shots than he did, I will point out that some of Josh Hart's shots came in transition, and came in transition, and he had 10 of them in the first half and only 2 in the second. So I don't think this was about other players taking shots away from Cat as much as it's about, was this a Cat thing, just not being assertive last night, or was this, maybe passing more, reading the game a little better? Adji, I know you watched the game again. I did not. I think if I did, I'd have a better sense of, was he just passing up shots? Was he not being assertive? Was it the schemes? I don't have a recollection. Let me know in the chat, what you noticed about Cat last night. And yeah, Ajay, Jeff, what did you notice?
To
Well,
me,
it was
I
just
just
an
thought
off
that.
game.
Okay, go.
No, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
I was
No, you're
searching
good.
something anyway.
There was just
No,
a
go ahead.
pause. It might have
Please,
been
go
the
ahead.
internet on mine.
I was looking for something anyway. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. All right, I'll go. So I actually didn't think Cat played poorly last night. He shot poorly, but an old friend of ours used to say you don't have to shoot well to play well. I forget who that was, but we won't mention his name because I don't want to trigger anyone. But he didn't get a lot of shots, but I think that was probably by design on Milwaukee's part. Miles Turner is a good defender. And I think they kind of threw waves at him with Turner and Kuzma. Kuzma bothered him a lot in the previous matchup also. So there's something about Milwaukee's size and physicality with those two that really seems to bother Towns, in my opinion. But, the rebounding is there and it's vital. And I actually thought I wanted to shout out his defense in the fourth quarter because I thought there were a couple of possessions where, especially with Josh Hart on Josh Hart was on Giannis, and Cat had to help and rotate, and his rotations were crisp and spot on, and he even blocked a shot down the stretch that was critical. So I actually thought Cat did some things well. I know he didn't get a lot of. I think that's the fault of the Knicks. I think Towns should never have just 8 shots. Like, we have to do everyone. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson has to do a better job of upping his shot diet. He should be at 16 plus shots every single night. And if he's not, you're not maximizing your offense, in my opinion, because he has gravity. He gets to the foul line. I know he's not having a great shooting season, but he's still a great shooter. And I if you want to say that some of it's on him, okay, but I don't see a ton of touches for him. Like, I at least, especially not in the fourth quarter, I didn't see, like, they're definitely not featuring him in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. And so I really think that we need to get more. I don't know if it's running more screen and roll or running more off ball actions to get him the cut and the ball on the move. His playmaking was good yesterday. His most frustrating play for me was when he fouled the 3-point shooter, like, because he didn't stay, stay down and keep his position, and that was a costly play, because I guess he only made 1 out of 3 free throws, so he kind of got fortunate there. But it's stuff like that frustrates me more than anything. But I guess maybe I'm in the minority. I didn't think Towns had a horrendous game last night. I thought, yeah, he didn't score much, but we didn't need him to score much. We had 118 points, and our defense was decent, and I think he was a key cog in that, believe it or not. So I thought it was a decent night from Cat. And there'll be some folks who want to bury him, and if that's how you want to fan, that's fine. I'm not saying that's illegitimate, but to me, I didn't have a problem with the way the Towns played. I think the Knicks need to do a better job of featuring him. I think they need to do kind of what they did with Julius Randle when he was here. Give him the ball in the first quarter, let him eat, and eat often, and then and I think that'll help him, because then it helps everyone, because the defense is going to key on him more. That's going to get more people open shots, and if he gets going in that first quarter, we've seen just the other day, we saw him just completely dominate and go off, against Charlotte. So we know that it's there. And you got to trust his work and make sure that he's a vital cog in the offense, because if he's only getting 8 shots, 10 shots, that's a win for any defense, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to your point, in terms of down the stretch, he had a key steal of a jump ball and then a key offensive rebound down the stretch as well. One of the things I do like about Cat is, even when he's not shooting well, there's little things that let you know he's still engaged. So still in a jump ball, getting the key offensive rebounds. Like, I'm not getting my shots, or I'm getting my shots and I'm not hitting them, but mentally he still stays in the game. He understands the importance of the moment, and he comes up big. Comes up big for us in these key moments. But to your point, I agree with you. This can't. And listen, this was one game. This is one game. I'm not sure how many shots. Can somebody check that? It doesn't have to be on the panel, but if somebody in the chat can let us know, how many shots does he average per game? And then if we get how many shots the Knicks take per game, then we can see the percentage of shots that Cat takes. Because I agree with you. It should be up there. He should be featured. I think they were doubling him as well. On a few possessions, they doubled him, and he got the ball, out of his hands. He wasn't, he didn't force it. So I'm not going to make a big deal over the 9 points and the 8 shots. It just cannot be a habit. It cannot be a habit. And I don't think it um will be. Anything else on Cat before we move to dues?
Um, well, I don't think he had a great game.
Okay.
And I don't think you got to remember, Cat, like you said, he has a lot of gravity. He pulls players. I feel like he didn't do that yesterday. Yeah, he did make a lot yesterday. And I understand that sometimes you don't have great shooting night, but
Mhm.
they didn't like the defense didn't really gravitate towards him, like unless they were try like I didn't see much of that. Okay. And when you're playing, uh I think they had Kuzma on him at some point, and at some point it was Turner. Turner's not a great defender away from the basket, so I think Cat really could have done more in terms of scoring. You're our second best player. I do need Cat to score more than 9 points a game because we're not getting anywhere with him having these kind of games. So I need him to shoot more, even if the first few don't go in, the first few don't drop. You got to shoot until you get it. And I'm not saying to force the issue. If the playmaking is there, you go for it, right? But if it's not there, you got to be a little aggressive trying to score the ball because the name of the game is whoever scores the most point and stop the other team from scoring a lot of points wins the game. So you ain't stopping nobody on the other end. So I need you on this end. You got to do something because when Kot's not scoring, he's not good because he's not stopping anybody from scoring. So there's two things you got to do here to win a basketball game, right? He ain't doing it. And he didn't have, I think he had like maybe 10 rebounds. Like he didn't have a superb game. Um,
10 rebounds is, I mean, what was the rebounding percentage, right? You can't just look at the total number of rebounds, right? Like in terms of what was the rebounds available to him.
well,
I will say
out of
this.
out of 44, he had 10.
Yeah, I will say this. I agree with you. Over the course of a season into the playoffs, Cat can't score 9 points and take
Yeah.
8 shots. I get it. But in a particular game, when we were scoring and we were getting contribution from other players, it didn't hurt us. But I agree with you. Over the course of a game,
Right.
absolutely.
And
Oh,
and that's
excuse me,
what
the course of a season.
the season. I got you. And that's why it seems like okay, like he gets it passed on this one. Um, but we need more from him. Like we can't go on like this. And he's got to get right. Like he's not having a great season. Last season was much better. So he really I don't know what's going on with him. I hope it's just I don't know. I hope
But
it's not an
AJ,
injury.
I, I,
Yes.
I do want to point out that the lineup that got the Bucks back in the game was one that had Mitchell Robinson and four guards on the floor. Like that's when they made their run. Is we had Mitch in the game with four guards, and that's when Milwaukee made their big push. And then and Cat did a Cat kind of helped stem the tide. So I don't I don't think this is I don't think this is a night to kill Towns because I'm not sure that we win that game in the fourth quarter without his contributions.
Yeah.
And then I also, the question I have for you, Ajay, when you say he's not playing well, like do you think is that he's not shooting well this season, or you feel like just overall he's not playing well? His decision making
Uh,
is like how are you seeing it?
well, two things. He's not shooting well, which is a huge part of his game. That's what he is good for, is scoring, right? Because he's not a great defender, and not so much yesterday. But even though he's improved this season, but there are some games where he takes himself out of the game with the silly fouls, and he's gotten better in that because, like this season, I have to say that. But at this stage in your career, man, he needs to be smarter. That's all. He's like too talented to not be able to put in minutes and not be able to put in shots and not be able to be aggressive on offense. You know what I'm saying? He's too important to us to be so passive and so timid on either end of the floor. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Because if we have if we right now the way we playing right now, the way with the guys we have right now, if we get the Cat that we had last season, I think we easily at top of the Eastern Conference right now. So, and I think that's what people saw. And when we were making predictions, we anticipated Cat, the same Cat we had last season. Even with his flaws last season, he's still a superior player to, he's still one of the top players in the NBA, even with his flaws.
But do you think it's just a matter of time, or do you feel like he's slipping
N-
as a player?
No, I think it's just a matter of time, and I hope he doesn't have any lingering injury or something and when you say injury, it could be, it could be a sore something, not a broken something, but like a sore something, or
Mhm.
something that makes him uncomfortable. Something that don't necessarily stop him from getting on the court. Like, remember, like Josh Hart, even Cat last season he had a finger issue. That didn't stop him from playing, but it was an issue. So I hope there's not something like that going on. With the Knicks, you never know, like, until afterwards. They're like, oh, by the way, Cat's going surgery because he had that all season.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
hope it's not one of those.
Okay.
I think it's just a matter of time. Like, I think it'll work itself out. I would like to see it work itself out faster, sooner rather than later. That's all.
Right. And the other thing I'll say about field goal attempts, the way this team is playing now with the shots, being kind of spread around, um, Brunson doesn't seem his shot attempts doesn't seem to be going down. But I could see how overall Cat attempts will be going down if OG's attempts are going up, if Mikal Bridges' attempts are going up, if we're kind of playing this egalitarian style of basketball other than Brunson. I could see why his shots could come down a bit, but not eight, not eight. Um, all right. Anything else on Towns? And then Ajay, you can we already know where you want to go.
You want to go to Deuce?
Wherever you want to go. Go
I'm
ahead.
getting a lot of pressure from Wiz. No, I'm just kidding. We have a super chat. You wanna?
Yes, absolutely. You could put it up. Can you read it?
And that is from Walter White. He said, I'm shooting all our big son bail. In preseason, Brown said the center had the biggest learning curve. No coincidence, they all not playing up to par. Well,
Fair. Yeah.
fair, but I mean, those guys are seasoned. I mean, they're veterans at this point. It really, they should be able to adjust. I mean, thank you, Walter White, for the super chat, of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, but I just think it needs to work itself out a little faster. That's all. Queen, we already, in a couple of days, we're in December, man. So,
Yeah.
but
But
anyway,
it's 18 games? By the time we have our next show, we'll be at the 20 game mark, so we could do our little Jarrell special. Jarrell don't want to hear nothing until we get to the
hit the
20
20.
game mark. Could do the Jarrell 20 game special.
Yeah.
The good thing about that take is that you can push that goalpost back to like, and now I need to see 35.
right.
Real laughing. Chat, that's my guy.
Shout out to Jarrell.
Shout out to Jarrell.
Yeah. Next, I want to go to Deuce McBride, man. Deuce McBride have a very, very good offensive game yesterday, and he of course, the effort on defense is always there, but he wasn't missing from three yesterday, man. I think he was like 70-something% from the 3-point line, and did he even take any twos? I don't remember.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Like, he took a couple, I guess.
Yeah, and this is 2 games in a row he shot well.
Yeah,
breaking the every other game streak.
No, and it it feels good when you're watching a game, and in the course of the game, you see when somebody shoot the ball, you like, if they miss, that surprises you that they miss. Just like Milwaukee, because Milwaukee had a couple of guys that were hot. At least it
Like
seemed that way.
Green was hot.
But guess what? Kuzma was hot.
Kuzma, oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Green seemed hot,
his
but Green really shot 50%. But Kuzma
But
shot
he made
like
his first
80%
six.
from
That's
three.
the thing about Green.
Right? Yeah, he made his first six.
He cooled
Like
off.
backbreakers.
Kuzma didn't
Right.
really. I think Kuzma missed one shot the entire night.
Kuzma shot like 80% from three. That's like, how did we survive that? I don't even know. But he was.
That's what your defense wants. Like, Kuzma's like a career 24% shooter from out there. It was crazy, and maybe it was just because he was able to see over Brunson, or he's just hot. I don't know, but
Jeff, Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden.
Everybody come over here, get right. But shout out to Deuce, man. He had a very good game. 19 points. 19 points, man, in 33 minutes. Like I said, 71.4% from three. Hit
Mhm.
all his free throws, got a couple of rebounds. You know, the smallest guy on the court, him and Brunson, they grabbing rebounds,
No
putting in the effort.
turnovers. Mhm.
No turnovers, and he was a plus 14, second behind Joshua. Joshua was a plus 15, by the way,
Mhm.
and Deuce McBride was plus 14, second best plus minus on the team yesterday. So shout out to him. That was a very very good game he played yesterday, and he hit the threes when we needed them too. He always have those timely
Correct. That's what I
shots.
was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Two timely, two timely 3-pointers. I believe it was in the, I want to say in the fourth quarter. Could have been the third, but I think it was the fourth quarter.
I think
And
he
then
had
was it,
3 at the fourth.
yeah, and then wasn't it Kolek who came back and hit the third one? Because it was like three straight 3-pointers to get the
Oh yeah,
Knicks.
that one stretch
Um,
right at the beginning. That's right. He
yeah,
Yep.
hit 2 in a row.
yeah,
Right.
That's
to
right.
get us
Yeah.
back in the game. Yeah, I thought Deuce was good. Um, you know, Deuce and Cat are similar in the sense that even when they don't shoot well, they have gravity, right?
Mm.
But man, it helps when you're also shooting well, you know? And Deuce was really, really good last night. To your point, he only took one 2-pointer, but he was 5 of 7 from the 3-point line, and he went to the into the free throw line 4 times. And I think that's what we need, for Deuce. I know I get on him, overall, him and Shamit, that overall their 3-point averages, whatever. But these 25% games followed up
Hmm.
by a 60% game is kind of driving me crazy. But to Deuce credit, there's always a timely 3-pointer in there. I don't care how he's shooting that particular game. There's always a timely shot in there. And I just love his confidence, and how he comes out. And I think as long as he's in his role, which is catch and shoot, he's at his best.
Hmm.
He's at his best. You're not gonna get, well, I shouldn't say you're not gonna get 2-pointers, because the last two games prior to this, I was surprised at some of the shots he was able to get, off the dribble. So, that part of his game is evolving as well. But his bread and butter is the catch and shoot, and we got that last night. Jeff,
I just
anything you
think
want to add?
the the degree of difficulty on his threes, he can make some with the guys draped on him. Like last night, there were a couple where I thought Milwaukee closed out great, and it didn't matter. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was really locked in last night on his three. But that's what I want from him. I don't really want him shooting twos or breaking people down off the drill. I don't think that's his game. As you said,
Right.
get
Right.
him those catch and shoot opportunities. Let him maximize those and be a sniper, and then the on ball defense. I mean, I I think he was very good last night, at the point of attack, and doing Deuce things. So great game from McBride, and we need it because without OG and Shamit, we need guys to step up. Into whether it be in starting roles or off the bench, and he's getting starters minutes, and he's proving that he's worthy of them. So we know who Deuce is. Like he's going to have some games like this, and then you're like, oh, he's the best value contract in the league, and then he's going to have his 0 for 6, and you're going to be like, he's frustrating. Why are we have to
Yeah.
upgrade the position? So but that's what role players are, and that's who he is. So nice to have him. Nice to have him. Contributing positively, and like he normally does. So this is more my expectation of who Deuce is as a player than
Right.
I'm actually kind of surprised when he has his clunkers nowadays. It's like, Deuce, come on, you're better. We're past those days. Like
Right. Right.
that was year 1, year 2 Deuce. This is year 5 Deuce, or whatever it is. Let's get those twos. Let's get those 3-point makes up to at least 2 a game. That's what. Don't go with the over route.
Yeah, but I was talking to, shout out to Uncle Freezy, Blanche Tears. Well, one, consistency is the hardest thing in this league, right? That's the hardest thing, and consistency is what separates the starters from the role players. And
Mhm.
Freezy was the one who pointed that out to me. He said that's to be expected, the inconsistency, because if they were more consistent, they wouldn't be role players. So I said, okay, I guess I need to I guess I need to just, you know, leave that part alone. Like you do have, it's really those fringe starters or those starters who are in that second unit. If you Mano Ginobili and there's others who like these are starters in the second unit who are consistent from game to game to game because they're basically starters. But for role players, sometimes, particularly with shooting, it can be, it can be up and down. Those knockdown shooters that, every single game, this is what you can expect, are usually starting, shooting guards, in the league. So, I guess I'll back off Shaman and Bridges. I mean, Shaman and Deuce
Deuce.
for, for the every other game, 3-point shooter. But last night, the Deuce was loose. The screen navigation, all of the things he usually does on defense was on display last night. Jeff, where do you want to go?
Oh, there's a couple different directions that we could take it now. I got to go with McCall Bridges. Three stocks again last night. Bridges is, you know, I don't think he's gonna make an all-star game because I don't think he's gonna have enough points per game, and that's really important for consideration for some reason. But you want to talk about a guy who's just in his bag and comfortable, playing well, shooting the ball accurately from long range, and defending at a high level. It is Mikal Bridges. I'm telling you, I love the way this guy is playing, and he's having fun. He's getting out on the break. He's doing a lot of things that are just winning basketball, and it's fun to watch. And especially without OG Anunoby, I feel like more of the burden kind of shifts to him. Because when OG's here, it's kind of like 3A and 3B, right? Because they're
Mhm.
both, you know what I mean? They both can fill that role, and sometimes it's almost like an identity crisis. Am I three today or am I four? Like which one, which one? And sometimes they take turns, but Bridges is just kind of, you want to talk about consistency. I think he's been the most consistent outside of Brunson of late. I think all year long he's been the most consistent Nick in terms of quality performances. He just bringing it every night and I just making a positive impact on the game. I love the way that he's playing.
Yeah, this is this. There's one issue I'm having with Mikael Bridges this season, and it was on display last night. I just don't think he's aggressive enough. I just don't think he's assertive enough. I mean, his game, his ability to get to his spots and pull up for that jumper, and now every time he releases it, I think it's going in. Like he's just his offensive game, to my opinion, is just on point. And I guess we can't feature everybody. We can't feature everybody, but I would like Bridges to get more shots. Like this guy, I just think offensively he has more in his bag than what we see. He can post up smaller players over the top. He can get into the game. The way he creates space, and I know some people are like, "Oh, he should be going in there banging, and he shouldn't be fading." But the way he's able to create space and get that shot off with his 18-foot wingspan, like you're not blocking that shot, and every time he releases it, it just looks like it's going in. I don't know if it's just he plays within the flow of the offense, and there's nothing wrong with that. But man, sometimes I go back and forth. Do I want Cat to have the second most shots on this team? Or do I want Bridges to have the second most shots on this team? Because this guy's offensive game, I think there's more to it. There's just more. There's just more to his game. But he's content to just, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying he's just content to go out there every day, play within the flow of the offense, do what he does on the defense, take advantage of his, opportunities. But this guy, he has a higher ceiling offensively than what we're seeing right now. And I would love to see it. I would love to see more of it. I really would. Yeah. Anything else on Bridges?
One thing though, sometimes more touches doesn't equal better. Like more shots doesn't always mean that it's better, right? Sometimes that's the right amount of shots to keep him in his efficiency, right? So yeah, if he's going to continue to, if he can maintain the percentages while with the increased volume, then I'm all about that.
Let's see. Let's
That's
see.
great.
He's shooting 50%. Let's see.
But I think one of the things that kind of gets lost in the sauce here is that the kind of offense that we're playing is emphasizing uh, threes and paint touches and paint scoring, and so a lot of what Towns and Bridges do is in the mid range. Like that's a lot of where they can be super effective, and we're kind of eliminating those shots from our diet, right? We're taking less and less and less from the mid range, and so I think that may be a reason. It may be a design issue that's limiting their touches because they don't want to take those mid range shots because that's not what the offense is designed, and that's not what the coach wants them to do.
Well, I think maybe that's something that should be rethought. I mean, when you, and I get it, it's not a hyper efficient shot, but when you have somebody who shoots it, you got two of those guys on your team, you're just going to take that. You're just going to take that out of their game and just say, I want you to shoot. I want you to shoot threes and layups. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Um, the past few games, the Knicks haven't even been that 3-point shooting team. Like the goal was 40. The last two games they've been under that. I think it was 30. It was 34. Last night. I don't know if that's a change in philosophy. I don't know if that's just OG is out. We're having injuries, and so we just need to change things up. Um, a little bit, but those two guys. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I have to say about Bridges. I do want to point out that what I thought really helped us win that game was our second chance points and our through free throw shooting. Because if the Bucks shot better than us from the field, they shot better than us from the 3-point line, but we went to the line 33 times and we shot 28. We were plus 11 in free throws and the second chance points, 22-5. And, just a shout out to just the focus we have on that. Hart had 2 offensive rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns had 3. And I think he's averaging about 3 offensive rebounds per game, if I'm not mistaken. It could have gone down since the last time I checked. Clarkson had 3 offensive rebounds. Mitchell Robinson had 3 offensive rebounds, which is where I wanna go next. Um, just if you're a good shooting team and you can get second opportunities, and it seems like the entire team is focused. I mean, for a guard, Clarkson to have 3, you know, um, plus he had 3 assists. Really liking Clarkson, even when he doesn't shoot well. But I want to get to Robinson, who I thought played really well in his 19 minutes. He looked more like himself. I think the early baskets he got kind of energized him, on the defensive end. 6 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. 2 steals last night. He took 3 shots, hit all 3 of them. Um, he looked good. He looked good. I just felt like he looked more like himself last night in the 19 minutes that he played. What did you guys see from Mitch?
Agreed, Queen. Like he made the best out of his 19 minutes. Give us some very critical rebounds at times in the game where we needed them. We needed those second shots, and they all resulted in points for us. The thing with Mitch, though, and it's really not Mitch, is I think sometimes the team needs to feature him more. When he's in the dunker spot, he's usually by himself, waiting for the rebound, because whoever's driving the ball, whoever's has possession of the ball, take the attention of whoever would be boxing Mitch out for the rebound. I don't know if you saw a couple of times that they found him under the basket. I mean, the first time he almost fumbled the ball, but because there was nobody around, he had time to gather and dunk it. So he's usually by himself, and we need to feature him a little more. Get a couple of more points out of him. He's not a great shooter or scorer or whatever, but when he's in that spot, if they find him, man, he's gonna find a way to dunk that ball or get foul, which is not to our advantage, but if he gets to dunk a couple of balls, I think that would help us. They should really try to make an effort to feature him more when he's under the basket. But he had a great game yesterday. He's very impactful in the minutes that he played. So yeah, he had a good game.
Little bit sloppy with a couple of those passes, but other than that, diving on the floor, getting to the loose balls, really good effort from him. But this is the role I want to see him in. 19 minutes off the bench, I think is perfect for him in terms of allowing him to play the style that he does. I don't think he's a 25-minute plus per game player. He never really has been in his career. So I think we have him in the right role. I think he's playing well defensively, and as he always does, and he's really been it was an energized performance from him last night, and that was good to see. But again, I like the role that he's in. I think that we should keep it there. I'm not a huge fan of a ton of minutes with he and Towns on the floor. I would much rather see Towns at the 5. Just my personal preference. You're welcome to disagree, but I thought that I liked it because that's sustainable from him, right? It's not
Right.
like sometimes you get performance like Kyle Kuzma's not going to shoot 80% from 3 every night like that.
Right.
That's just an outlier. Like you can blame the Knicks defense if you want to. That's fine. I don't care. But that's just an outlier. And even with Deuce, he's not going to be 5 of 7 from 3 every game for the rest of the season. But Robinson can do that every game and be and I would rather him have shorter stints and larger impacts, right? If that's what's going to be effective for us, and again, it comes down to lineup versatility. I think it speaks volumes that
Right.
e-
Right.
even with 2 rotation players out, we still have this lineup versatility. You saw moments where Clarkson was on the floor during that run early in the fourth quarter with Jalen Brunson and Deuce at the same time, I think. And so you're getting to see a lot of different looks and guys like Kolek getting thrown into the mix, and even and even like a sprinkle of Diawara salt every once in a while, right? You got but you have a lot of lineup versatility. There's a lot of different things, and coaches experimenting. And sometimes it works, sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes it's really frustrating. But
Right.
I think we had a hot shooting third quarter last night. I think we shot better than 60% in the third quarter, and then we went on that huge run where, as Queen said, we made those 3 shots in a row, 3 threes in a row that kind of expanded the lead, and then we went in the tank on offense for about 5 minutes. It felt like I think we were stuck on 114 forever. It felt like,
Yeah.
and then and we didn't really score that much more the rest of the game. It was not 114, it was 104. We were stuck at 104 forever, and then we had that late run where Brunson made a couple of fantastic shots and got fouled on the 3-pointer and all the things that he does. So yeah, good performance from Mitch. I think the right role for Mitch, and when you get good players in the right roles, I think that's when you get their best performance. So Mitch, I think this is just about right for him.
Yeah. And to your point about versatility, you got those core 4. And then the players around them, you could just mix and match, and they can give you different things on different nights. And we have the coach that's going to do it. When we have our next show, probably it'll be next week, Thursday. We'll talk about what else the Knicks can do or maybe should do to add to the lineup versatility that we already have. Different opinions out there. I was so surprised. Like, as strongly as I feel about a backup point guard, there's some in the Knick community, and these are content creators and those who write articles about the Knicks, are just as adamant that we need a wing with size, and then others just as adamant that we need another big. So it's just so interesting just to see the different, um, takes on the lineup. But it's pretty versatile as it is. It's pretty versatile as it is. So it's, yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Kolick, who continues to play well in the minutes that he gets. Only 10 minutes last night, but 5 points, 2 steals, 1 assist. All 5 points, I believe, was assisted off of you know, Josh Hart, and he knocked him down. Like, he's playing with confidence. He hit a key three in the game, and even Mike Brown stated that he's playing really good defensively. Um, he's physical without fouling. He's pushing, distributing the ball, getting them into the offense, and that he should be playing more minutes. This is one thing I like about Mike Brown. He's gonna always put it on him. Josh Hart should have been starting from the beginning. Kolick should be getting more minutes. This one, I should have started early with defining, people's roles. I like that about him. But the truth of the matter is, it's a process. It's a process for him. It's a process for the players. That's just what it is. But Kolick is playing well in the minutes that he's getting, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. I think that's what I noticed the most. Thoughts on Kolick last night or overall?
Well, I mean, you said defensively, but he had 2 steals in his limited minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and they were again crucial at points in the
Mm-hmm.
game where you're making a run and they try to make a run. They kind of momentum breakers. You know what I'm saying? So he came through, and like you said, he was being very aggressive and being very smart about it without
Mm-hmm.
committing the fouls.
Right.
So that's good to see him come along. I was not a huge believer in Kolick in terms of being the primary backup point guard, but he's been playing well the last few games. He's been playing well, so hopefully he improves and we don't have to look elsewhere.
Now we got to look elsewhere.
If
We
he
got to look
improves, you
elsewhere.
don't know. You don't know,
I mean,
Queen.
it's just you don't want to. And this is just my opinion, and this is not a knock on Kolick, who's been playing very well and doing what I thought he could do, and what any of these young guys can do is just come in and just give you really good minutes, and he's been doing that. But going into the playoffs, my preference would be for somebody with a bit more experience, and it remains to be seen whether he remains in the lineup once we're fully healthy. Because remember, when we were fully healthy, Kolick didn't play. So once we become fully healthy again, where are the minutes for him? And well, there may be, because like you said, he can go, 9.5. Shout out to Latoria B, appreciate you. So he's playing well right now. I like what I see from Kolick. It's still not stopping me from getting a veteran point guard for the playoffs if the Knicks deem that that's something that they need. Jeff, your thoughts on how Kolick's played so far?
I mean, he was okay. Like he played well in his minutes. I mean, he's only, it's one of those Tibbsisms, right? Everybody's going to get their moment in the season where they're going to need to be able to contribute. And shout out to Tyler. He's this is his time because we're down two players, and he's stepped in and he's played well. I think he's played well, but for those who say we can stop our search for a backup point guard, I think that's silliness. I don't there's nothing in what Tyler Kolek has done that says, "Oh, backup point guard spot secure." Like, and especially the last 3 games, 2 of them against 2 of the worst teams in the league, and and a nice game against Milwaukee. But I mean, he had 5 points on 5 shots and in 10 minutes. Like, and that's not all he did. He did deals, but he also got lost on defense a couple times and allowed wide open 3-pointers. So, a mixed bag with him. He's all right. I mean, I don't, you know, I I'm gonna wait and see mode with him. I think that he's been productive to an extent, but I don't like if we upgraded at the point guard spot it wouldn't make me sad. But I think that the point that you're making is a valid one, and it's interesting because the Knicks do have three weaknesses on this team, and what you value determines, and who you like determines what you think we need. Right? If you're high on Kolek, then you don't think we need a backup point guard. If you're high on Mitch, you think we need a backup wing. If you're high on the wings, then you might think we need in one of the other two areas. And everybody's right, because we do need in a perfect world all three of those things. But it's not a perfect world, and we don't have the resources to really make much more than a minor upgrade at any of those areas, in my opinion.
Right.
And
Right.
so, I think that if Kolek can continue to play well, then he should deserve to continue to get minutes. But he's only really playing because Shamit and OG are out, right? I think that he's a situational player, and once those two guys are back, I think that he goes back to the bench. So and that's fine. Like when your numbers are called, you have to play well, and we saw that with Deuce. Right. And early on in his career, he would get opportunities because Brunson was hurt or someone else. He would get opportunities and he would play well or he would not play well. And then, and then everybody's back healthy and he's, then you're not going to see him, for a little while. And I think his career arc may be similar to Deuce. I think he's a guy that, for a couple of years going to struggle, maybe not look necessarily like an NBA player. And then hopefully he works himself into where he's a quality rotation player. He's certainly over the last week or so, he has that jersey on right now and looks like he could play in an NBA rotation. Small sample size, so I don't want to get carried away with it, but it's promising. I like what I've seen so far. I'm just not ready to jump out the window and say that Kolek has solved our backup one issues.
If it's even an issue, I think there's a lot of people who don't agree with me. Freezy definitely does not, in terms of backup point guard even being an issue, right? I think we had Lee on the show as well, and he doesn't believe that that's an issue. He believes that, in Mike Brown's system, you don't really need a floor general lead guard, and that McBride and Clarkson and Shamit will be good enough. I just think when you get into the playoffs and things slow down and it's more of a half court game and they start taking away options, you do need really good decision makers on the court at that time. But again, widely, different opinions in terms of what the Knicks could do, to your point, Jeff, to tweak the roster. I don't think the Knicks need anything major, and I don't think they can do anything major. I don't think we have the draft capital to do it. I don't think we have the players to do it, because I don't know if the players that we would want to trade have the value, around the league that can, get us, these tweaks, that we think we need. So this may be it. You know, this very well may be it. And again, I like the versatility of the team as it stands, but you can always use an upgrade if you can get it. Um, I think the only thing left to, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Clarkson, 22 minutes, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, missed all 5 of his threes, was only 2 of 13 last night. So was not a, good shooting night for Clarkson. And that's, it's going to happen. But I think overall he's been really, really good for us, and one of the key players who was able to get. He might have, no, he didn't lead us in points in the paint, but I found a new part of the box score now. I was always looking at the traditional, and then I saw the little drop down menu where you could get advanced and miscellaneous and usage, points in the paint. But he's somebody who really gets into the paint for us. Just not a good shooting night. And then Yabusele, when he came out and hit that 1 3 point, I said, "All right now, all right." 6 minutes. That was his only three
Vanished
points,
back into
one
the bushes
rebound,
like Homer Simpson after that.
one assist. Exactly, exactly. Anyway, Anything else? I'm gonna shout out the chat a little bit, and then we're gonna get out of here. Anything else?
Nice win. 12-6 is a good place to be. Going to be a tough one tomorrow, though. Like that game against the Raptors is no joke. And then I think we get the Celtics right
Who's
after that.
playing
So
well? The Celtics have won what 5, 6 in a row, something like that.
yeah, they're 10 and
Um,
8. They're not. There's no pushovers this week. It's gonna, it's time to step up and show our quality against some real competition.
yeah, they are the Celtics. They've won 2, but they're 7-3 over their last 10. So they're playing, they're playing good basketball. Somebody is going to drop, right? The Milwaukee's in 11th spot, 11th, and I anticipate that they'll move up into the top 10. So somebody is going to drop, but these teams are playing well. I thought Toronto and Miami would be good. I didn't think they would be this good, and it remains to be seen whether this holds. But out of the gate, Toronto and Miami are playing, playing really good
Man,
basketball.
I,
And watching these teams, like when we came in, I'm like Cleveland and New York is just head and shoulders over the rest of the competition. I don't feel that way anymore. Having watched these teams, I feel like we can beat any of them, but I don't. I no longer feel we're head and tails better than um
it's gonna
than
be
everyone else.
it's gonna
In
be a dogfight. It's gonna be a
it's gonna
dogfight.
be a dogfight.
I mean, I understand the Raptors playing well because I just don't understand Miami. I don't get it.
I understand Miami more
I
than I
don't.
understand
The
the Raptors
Raptors,
because you got
Raptors have
Norman
better players.
Powell. Yeah, but they're playing a style that's pretty conducive to the players that they have. So that's unlocking some players on the team. And they're doing this with Bam was out for a while. Hero has been out for a while. Norman
Yeah,
Powell has really stepped up for
that's
them.
that's what
But
I don't understand.
but mhm.
Bam Adebayo being out and Tyler Hero being out, and remember they lost. The Duncan Robinson was traded away. I mean, it's I don't understand how they playing so well.
I think the style of play is conducive, and they got guys who are stepping up for them. Because so they don't have the names, let's put it that way. They don't have the BIs and the Barnes. They don't have the names, but they have players that's stepping up in their role and making it happen. And we've played them twice. And so we got to see them, pretty much up front,
Yeah,
up close. I mean, yeah, it's good. Everybody is like 12 and some. From 15, there's like one, two, three, 4 teams that's 12 and something. Philly with 10 wins. I don't think anyone thought Philly would be in the picture, right? They're eighth right now. I didn't think Boston would be in the. I have, and they still may finish outside of the play-in, but I didn't have them playing well at all. They're 10-8, 7-3 over their last 10, and the Bulls are falling back to earth, 3-7 over their last 10, 9-9 on the season. So things are going to change. It's going to be like an up, and I don't think anybody had the Pistons winning 9. They've lost their last 2 though, but I think they had won 9, 10, whatever many games they won. I don't think anybody had the Pistons being number 1 in the Eastern Conference, at least even this early in the season. So it's going to be a bit more hectic than we thought.
That's just the season, that's how it is most of the time. Like when in the preseason, it's you look at every matchup and you're like, oh, we could definitely win that game, and then the season is a grind. It is. What did we get? Parrish's super chat, by the way?
No, can someone put it up, please?
let's see. Parish Duggar, thank you for the super chat. Says
Appreciate you, Paris.
Kolick only has to do for us. Kolick only has to do for us. Every team has in a 10th player. We judge too harsh. Kolick could end up being 40% spot up shooter to add to his point guard play.
But I don't think anybody is. I mean, he could. I don't think we're judging him harshly either. I don't think anybody is saying what he can never be. We're just saying up to this point, he's played well in the minutes that he's gotten, But going into the playoffs, my preference anyway is for a more veteran point guard. There's no knock on him. He's developing as a point guard in his league. His defense is, getting better. He's not totally a cone, even if if there's times when his defensive performance is uneven. His shooting has gotten better, right? There was a time I'm like, come on, his shooting has gotten better. He's a more willing shooter as well. He drives to the basket. I mean, he's playing well. I don't think anybody is you
I,
know
I think it's the other way around. I think we judge him we give him a lot of leeway because he's developing. Because we it's like you almost don't expect much from him because he's developing. So we really don't. We're not harsh with him at all. I feel like it's the opposite. But yeah,
everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Shout out to Pash Dogger, man. Thank you for a super chat.
I just wanted to ask, has anyone seen Keith Turner like in other chats? I haven't seen him here in a while. I hope everything is okay with him. I don't know if I've seen him this season at all in the
It has
chat.
been a minute now that you mention it. Hope all is well in your world, Keith. If you're out there, give
Yeah,
us a-
yeah, definitely. And if anybody, knows him personally, just shoot him a text and just let him know that, we asking about him and hopefully everything is okay. But I do want to shout out the chat. David Smith, appreciate you. APAP 1586, size 9. Always a pleasure. Old head, it's been a minute. Old head for the win. Appreciate you. Wiz BKLA, appreciate you. As well. A Train was in the house. Appreciate you, sis. Always rocking with us. Jay Brony, appreciate you as well. I think
JJ was in the house, Jarrell.
Oh, JJ, Andrew K. Appreciate you, Real King, D Ross. I appreciate all of you guys rocking
Jarrell.
with us. Oh, Leon Mitchell, 3560. Appreciate you rocking with us again. Ajay, 4336. Thank you. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Shout out to Jarrell. Jarrell, why you not here with us, man?
Yeah. Shout out to Jarrell. Appreciate
Jabroni.
He watching on a Lolo on his phone. He's in a family breakfast or they're having brunch or something, and he's just kind of off in the corner, like he can't get to his studio. He's like sneaking us on the Lolo there.
Right. And Walter White and Paris Doug, I appreciate the super chats. And anybody who want to send us a cup of coffee, that's what the QR code is. You just, y'all know how to use QR. This is an older crowd, but we should know how to use QR codes. And if you want to send us a cup of coffee, please do. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to the silent listeners, Lord Scientists, my brother. Hopefully Thanksgiving, was good for you. Yeah, and we out of here. I guess the next Jeff and I will be on. I'll let you know, Jeff. I was hoping I would have the high-speed internet and I would still be in Georgia on Monday. That fell through, so now I'm deciding whether my original ticket was to fly back to New York on Monday. So if that's the case, I'll be flying when we should be doing the show. So
Just
unless
let me know. Either way, I'm good. So
okay, all righty. And then we'll be back Thursday for our weekly show with a lot to talk about. So much to talk. Seems like we haven't been on the weekly show in
we've missed 1 week.
I know. It's only been 1 week. It's only been 1 week. I know. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, family. Until next time.
Thank you. All right. Peace.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Great show as always.